What is going on, everybody? Bobby Fi and Eric Tabor. We're going to be going over this 3-game slate. Going to plan on doing this during at least the first round of the playoffs for me, and then especially when there's 3 games or more, I try to get in there and do it because I like the way the playoff stuff is done. I actually, I bubbled the big one the other night, which was a little frustrating, and then I had the Norman Powell yesterday to prevent me from getting money, even though I had all of the Siakam and all that stuff. A lot of good stuff, but just couldn't get the right pieces. Really enjoyed the games so far, though, and they're being played in the very, very intensely. And basically, I think every under is hit so far. Just to keep that in mind, that the games are much more. There's a lot more defense being played. You're getting 40+ minutes out of the studs. It's been really enjoyable, and you've seen some games that were blowouts that came close at the end. So I'm pumped about tonight. Cheats, any overall thoughts before we go into game by game?
Yeah, I happen to have caught. What did you think of the distribution of results for Damian Lillard first half to second half?
Oh boy, that was another one. I had him yesterday, and he was only 30% owned, which I thought was really weird. I thought he should have been the chalkiest play on the slate, and I was feeling like proud of myself at halftime when he's got 45 and a half fantasy points, and he ends up with 47 with no points in the second half, and people bet him at over 35 and a half points, and that's a pretty rough beat.
That's an atrocious beat.
That's pretty rough, man.
That's really bad. I mean, yeah, I hate when people whine, but that's nasty.
That's pretty nasty.
I mean, listen, if you get injured, I don't even have any sympathy. You know what I mean? That's just what happens. But that one's really bad. Because he actually played and still didn't get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very strange. But yeah, I'll mention sort of my initial thoughts on the games. I'll post my bets later, but like I for the games tonight, I feel like this is such a toss-up of a series for me, but I also wouldn't surprise me like if Cleveland swept them. I think they're very, very close teams, but Orlando's just a little bit younger. But I do have some ideas for some ways to get different. So we'll talk about what Sheets likes in this game. My natural thought is Cleveland to win. I don't think I would touch it with any spread. And I think that I'll keep betting the under as long as if the over under is above 200, I'm going to bet the under every day in this game. I'm sorry, under. Yeah, I think I don't see these teams regularly getting to 100 points. I think most of these games, one team will at least be below 100.
So Cleveland in the last game, they basically handled them, whatever.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, they were in control, but it was competitive-ish. At times it wasn't like. I don't think maybe not the final score. I don't know if it's how indicating it was.
Yeah, so I'd like to give my I do this every year in day 2s of the in day 3s also of the NBA playoffs, and this goes back to like the way I used to think about betting sports, which is the same way I think about it now. But what I used to believe, which is I still believe is the case, is that there's a pretty unique spot that you can get when you're betting these game 2s of the playoffs. In that when you have the first team in the first game, the home team that's expected to win, like control the whole game and win, it's always a good idea to bet the away team in day 2, because what happens is that they're the favorites going in, but they're just not sure if they're better, and then they completely control it, and they get, okay, not a problem, we'll just hold court in the second game, and they come off pretty flat. So that's one kind of, I would say system play, where one kind of trend play I like to play throughout the years is when the first team in game 1, the favorite team, wins game 1 handily, then the second team is usually very, very good. And we'll get to what we do in game 3 when we get there. But the difference is like 2 of these games, it doesn't really fit the bill because Philly was like scaring the crap out of the Knicks for like a long time,
Right.
So it wasn't like the Knicks handled them. And obviously, same thing with the Lakers in Denver.
Right.
Lakers were still. So if I liked anything at all from these games, it would be like Orlando plus the points in this one.
Or maybe even just straight. I mean, they're plus 184. That's a pretty good bet for it's a 5.5 point spread. I
don't know the difference between I'm not a money line guy. I would just take the Orlando plus the points.
Yeah.
But that would be my only the way I think about sports. If anybody watch my MMA betting breakdowns, it's a lot of psychology and this type of thing. So I do happen to like Orlando plus the points. That's about it. But with respect to first of all, before you get into DFS, I mean, DraftKings should be ashamed of themselves. You know what they did tonight? They made 2 slates. Now think of the timing of this. There's a 7, a 7:30, and a 10. They have a 3-game slate, and then they have what they call a night slate. which is the 7:30 and the 10. I mean, come on. I mean, that's no shame, just no shame.
No shame at all.
But the other thing that they should have no shame about is not adjusting John Isaac's price.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So as he was 87% owned, I think, yesterday or the first day, I can't imagine him being much less this time. So he's the guy I would imagine you're going to have to lock in, and it's the guy that you're going to have to. He's going to show up in all the sims. He's going to show up in pretty much everything. And after that, it's funny, when I ran my first set of lineups, I mean, I was for a team that you don't really get too much of during the course of the season, getting a whole bunch of this Orlando stuff. Maybe because of the Isaac, it gets you these others, but Sugg seems reasonable enough at 5K. Wagner at 6,500. So all those guys look pretty good, but I was getting a whole bunch of Orlandos in general when I actually built my lineups. As far as the Cleveland side, yeah, I mean, Mitchell, Garland, Mobley. So if you want, you can come right out of the gate, and stack this game, put up a number, and hope it holds. But we'll do a sim. We'll do a sim run at the end of this. But my overall opinion is that if you're going to play a lot of this game, it's going to be because it's cheap. It's not going to be because the game environment's that great, because it does rate to be, I would imagine, a low-scoring game. I mean, as does probably the Knicks Philly too. But I don't know. You have anything here?
Yeah. So the way I've got it written out is, so I think Isaac is I don't know if I'll have many lineups without Isaac, especially if he starts again. So they basically, I mean, what they're going to get out of him is what we've seen him sit and not play more than 20 minutes in the game in like 4 years, is for this and going forward. They wanted him healthy in these situations. His minutes are increased. His role is increased. He's one of the best, 5 defenders on the planet, maybe even better than that. I might be underrating him. He might be the second best behind Wemby. He's almost assuredly going to be in all my lineups. If I wanted to get creative and didn't play him in a lineup, I would play Mo Wagner or Wendell Carter Jr. That would be my direct pivot route. Maybe they're down 20 and Mo Wagner brings them back. That kind of a situation, or Mo Wagner's second lead unit brings them back. It's just something to consider. So the normal plays are the Suggs, Isaac, and Gary Harris is 3,400 because he played 33 minutes. Now there is a chance. Here's where I'm thinking about getting different today. There's a chance to visit our old friend here, Cole Anthony. If they need offense, man, that's a guy. The problem is they've got a lot of other guys, so it's hard for him to get in there. But there's an outside chance that he comes in, they're down 10 after, when he comes in at the end of the first quarter, and they go on a run. He gets a couple threes, and all of a sudden he becomes his minutes go from 12 minutes for the game to all of a sudden he's playing 27, and they're looking for him. So that's the upside play that's high variance. Markelle Fultz is a similar version, but a little bit worse. Joe Ingles is supposed to be back. He would fit into another route. Okay, he didn't play game 1. Maybe we get him involved in game 2, and just at 3,200, a guy to consider. So those were the ways to get a little bit different. But I think Cole Anthony, if I had to pick one as my super get weird play, would be the guy. On the other side, nothing that naturally gets to me. I did think it was interesting that I think Mobley and Jared Allen both were very solid in game 1. And I would say that Mobley would be the one who makes the most sense to me here, but I have no issue if you want to say Jared Allen instead of Mobley. And Darius Garland had a lousy game 1, but has been really good against this Magic team for the last couple of years, actually. Basically the same rosters. He's 6,700. I would consider that as well. But nobody who strikes the priority for me, with the exception of Isaac, Suggs, and Harris, who I don't think you have to play all 3 of them, but they all stand out as being great value options. Mobley being the next most interest for me in this game.
Darius Garland sponsored 3 of the teams that were in the AAU tournament I was at this weekend, and we lost one of them. So I'm biased against him right now. F Darius Garland. Oh,
wait. He sponsored the ones that you were against. Oh, my bad.
Yeah, he had 3 or 4 teams, and we played one of them, and we lost. So F Darius Garland. But
that means now you just put it out in the universe. Now he's going to have the biggest night.
Oh, I'm going to play. Now, right now, I mean, we'll get to what I came up with later, but I'm currently getting about 40% Darius Garland.
Oh, you are on the Garland thing. Okay, interesting. I have Mobley Garland as close. And by the way, Garland is, I think on Saturday he was like 2% owned for what it's worth. Obviously 4 games different than 3. Phoenix, Philadelphia, New York.
So the big news for this game is the status of Tyrese Maxey. He missed shoot around with an illness today, and that's definitely something to monitor, to say the least.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, you're right.
He did play like 48 minutes the other day. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't blame him if he didn't feel so great to miss freaking shoot around, if you want to know the truth. But nonetheless, obviously, if he doesn't play, then we have all kinds of seasons. You know, you have a campaign, you have even more Kyle Lowry than you're already going to get, I guess. Not to mention more Embiid. So that's certainly something to watch out for. With any luck, we get that sooner than later. So that's like the news that's pending. And aside from that, as I kind of alluded to just now, I am getting, Kyle Lowry's only 4,400 with like a ton of experience. You know, they have no problem, putting him in there.
Yeah.
So for me, Embiid, Lowry, if in fact Maxey is in, certainly no problem is playing him. I've never been a Tobias Harris guy, so if I get to him, great. But if not a big deal. If I don't, Kelly Oubre doesn't feel like the type of series where he would shine, But I don't know. As far as the Knicks go, again, some interesting things to talk about over there too. You had like I think you had a lot of minutes or a lot of run for Mitch Robinson coming off the bench.
At a full 1% ownership at 3,600, he won everybody all the money.
Yeah, and you know what? He might again. The way the way the playoffs work, man. Whatever's working, you just go, and if something's not working, you switch it. So I can't imagine them not trying the same thing at least.
Right.
So once again, I think Mitch Robinson is going to continue to be kind of ignored here. I think you may as well try it because again, Mitch Robinson. This is the way projections work. They have to take a sample size of some kind, and if Mitch Robinson is not projected starting, they're going to project kind of an average of minutes that they expect him to come off the bench or whatever. And I don't know. I think at 4,200, I think you should just go right back to it. So there's him I like, Hartenstein, always, Anunoby, Josh Hart. I'm not in my runs getting to Brunson. That's I guess what's sort of interesting. Obviously, he's a good play. He's always a good play, but I guess because of the way salary is, I'm just not really getting too much in.
So that means you're probably getting to some Embiid and Jokic.
It means that I am getting to more middling builds, if you want to know the truth.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Like the Jamal Murray, Josh Hart.
Yeah.
Guys like that.
Yeah, I have Brunson as a priority. It's just the role. I'm just not going to. I understand that he didn't have the biggest game one. Even still, it's not like he was terrible for this price. It's just you want more, obviously. But
what do you get? 40 or something?
41, yeah. And he shot 8 of 26 from the floor. Come on, man, that's not going to happen every day. Including from what did he end up doing from 3? I think that he was 1 for 6, and he just had a lot of things that didn't go right for him. I mean, obviously they put Lowry on him. He did a good job, so shout out to him. We're gonna have all of the Philly guys back in Philly soon because all of these Villanova guys, and then Lowry, who's a Philly guy already, and it's just it's gonna be funny when the series goes back to Philly. I do like Lowry. I have it ranked in terms of the Knicks side. Lowry. I'm sorry. On the Knicks side, Brunson, Hart, Anunoby, DiVincenzo.
What about the leader of the free world?
Bogdanovich?
No, Miles McBride.
Yeah, I don't know what I want to do with that one. I have to. Maybe I have to do something.
35 fantasy points is no good?
It's awesome. I can't believe it happened. Maybe that's a good call, especially because he won't project well. You know what? I'm going to say Bogdanovich, McBride, and the idea of playing one of them is probably a decent, reasonable enough idea for me. I like Mitch Rob. I think he's actually going to be pretty popular today, even without the projections loving him, just because I think people are just going to, see what happened and know there's upside. But yeah, the Knicks have a lot of interesting pieces. I have it. Yeah, like I said, I have it ranked the way I said it. But OG still only 51 is interesting, even though it's sometimes hard to get fantasy points out of that guy, even though he's a great real life player. On the Philly side, which is going to be pretty low owned, I mean, assuming Maxey does play, which I think he will if he has a deep breath, I would go right back to Maxey here at 7,900. Embiid there's definitely something wrong with him, but that doesn't mean he's not going to score 60 fantasy points. And I personally would rather use the spend ups on the Lakers guys and Brunson. So that's what's keeping me away. But I do like the Max. I like Lowry the most of the Philly for the value. Maxey would be my next play. And then all of the Knicks I'll have exposure to and probably be overweight on pretty much the top 4 or 5 projecting Knicks that there are. And I'll throw Deuce McBride in there as well. Game Addict, we do this every day. We're not making a lineup here, man. I don't know what this need to get a lineup is. We'll tell you all the thoughts we have. You build one out based on what we're saying or something like that, because we aren't going to just keep building lineups on the shows. Anyway. All right, we can move on to the next one.
Before we go on, I don't know if you talked about this guy when we talked about the Orlando Cleveland. If you did, I apologize. Did you talk about Gary Harris at all?
Yeah, I mentioned him as an obvious value. Okay. But I also said that I think that there's an outside chance that if they're struggling offensively, you might see minutes with Suggs and Cole Anthony more often as a way to get different. But I like the McBride idea that you had, and it's a good point that Power is making. It is because OG got 2 quick fouls and it opened up minutes for Bogdan and McBride. But still, OG played plenty of minutes, and I think you still take those chances. And like you said, it's the playoffs. It's not. There's no reason somebody can't get 2 fouls in the first quarter again. It's totally possible. All right, I think this is probably the best. I actually thought it was a really good game the other night, and I thought the Lakers were playing out of their mind. Unfortunately, I think they kind of woke up a sleeping giant because Denver is really, really good. And I thought the Lakers mostly played well outside of D'Angelo Russell, but we'll see what happens tonight. Anyway, what are your thoughts here, Sheets? So
here's the reality. The reality is that for better or for worse, the Lakers have to win a game in Denver to win the series. That's what you get when you're the lower seed, and winning in Denver is certainly one of the most difficult things in the world to do. Now, the good news is that they did show signs in the last game of being able to be better for stretches. The other good news is that after today, they don't play for days. Okay, I think it's either maybe 3 full days off. It's possible. Yeah. So I think we could get 44 minutes out of both AD and LeBron if they could physically do it. This I think is their shot, to really just not screw around, put whatever they have, best foot forward and try to get this win. I mean, because if you go down 0-2, you're going to have to win in Denver eventually, and I think this is the best shot to do it. So if you want to play either AD or LeBron, I think they're both going to get the minutes to give you the opportunity to get there. I think that I think that you can almost make the case to play them both, just for that reason.
I agree, by the way.
So that's the one thing. And then, on the other hand, these other bench fringe guys, the Gabe Vincents and the Taurean Princes and guys like that. Yeah, I mean, they might get in there, but I don't think they're touching the ball. You know what I mean? They could. I mean, LeBron finds Taurean Prince wide open for 3, which he tends to do. I mean, certainly that can be the case. But I think this is the 2 superstars' day to try to make something happen. So I think that they're going to attempt to do that. So I'm gonna overweight both those guys, and if that means I have to underweight some of the others, that's just the way it's going to be. I'm not to say D'Angelo Russell, whatever, but D'Angelo Russell, Rui, I guess would be fringy next guy. I don't think this is an Austin Reeves game. That's the best way I can describe this. On the Denver side, as I kind of mentioned earlier, I certainly have nothing against Jokic, but the way pricing works or whatever, I'm just getting to Jamal Murray first. So that's going to be one of my – after Isaac, he's my highest known player. That would be Jamal Murray. So there's him, Michael Porter Jr., KCP. I'm going to get to those guys before Jokic just because of the way my lineups are building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Laker people out there. This is part of the problem with when you have a delusional fan base, and I'm part of it. Unfortunately, I'm not the delusional one, but they're all, but if D'Angelo Russell could make a shot, that's why we lost the game. But that's the problem. D'Angelo Russell got played off the court in this series. He literally got benched basically last year. And it's a tough series for him, but that's mostly defensively. He's improved a little bit defensively. He played 41 minutes the other night. And I don't know how I feel about him. What I do feel strongly about is what you said about the LeBron and AD thing. I think you're getting max effort, max everything. AD played 45 minutes the other night and was one of the best games I've ever seen him play. And they still lost. I'm leaning slightly LeBron over AD, but I'm right now putting like a core tag on both of them. I want Brunson, LeBron, AD as the level of spend ups where I'm getting to today. Whether it's all together, that's just sort of the grouping that I like. I do like Taurean Prince as a value play. I think that he looked really good, and he was actually really aggressive with the bench unit the other night. I could see him uptick, and I could see Gabe Vincent being a really good tournament play that no one will use if D'Angelo Russell is having trouble on the other side, defensively, and if he keeps missing shots, to be honest. This is the game obviously I'm going to be the most overweight on. I will be overweight Rui because I don't think he's going to end up with a crazy amount of ownership, and he's 4,900. He had a really bad game one. I think that I just want to be overweight the whole Lakers side today. But it's mostly going to be, which guys are going to get the minutes or whatever. It's speculative, but I do think I could see an uptick in minutes for Gabe Vincent or Dinwiddie. Vincent would be the one I prefer because I could definitely see that, and I've seen it in the playoffs before. And then on the Denver side, Jamal Murray is basically close to – he had a terrible game the other night, and he still put up like 50 fantasy points. Jamal Murray is like the closest thing to a lock for me in this game, even though I love the Laker guys too. But I love Jamal Murray. Because of that, I'm not probably going to get to Jokic. And I also love Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon. And then I like KCP. So this is where my ownership is going to be the heaviest. Sneaky play from this game on the Denver side would be Peyton Watson. But I want to be the heaviest on this game using some of the value pieces like Lowry from the earlier games, then using Brunson as my one spend up from the earlier games. I liked your idea earlier about the McBride, just sort of trying to bring everything back here. The main staples are, almost basically all my lineups will have Jamal Murray and Jonathan Isaac. No two ways about it. And I'm going to be, obviously highest on the Laker and Denver game. While that may not be different, I am going to try some of the Gabe Vincent and Peyton Watson bizarreness to go along with, the normal plays from that game. I think I said KCP, but KCP is a value play at 4,600. Should have all the minutes in there as well.
Yeah, like you said, just to show you, I just ran just the basic SaberSim build, and you just can't get that. You just don't get to Jokic and Embiid, you get to some Brunson like down here, but even that, 25%. That's reasonable. Mm-hmm. But it's like these. But you're getting to AD before you're getting to Brunson, and you're getting to LeBron before you're getting to Brunson.
Right.
And listen, if that's the case, maybe you make the lower owned play. Maybe you play Brunson instead of those two. That's certainly possible.
That makes sense. Yeah, I understand that one. For what it's worth, also one other bet that I did probably link today. I actually like the over in the Knicks Philadelphia game.
What is it? It's not much, right? 210 maybe.
207.5.
207.5.
Just low enough to where I think there's some room there. Yeah.
What's Orlando Cleveland? That can't be much more than that.
203.
Wow.
But I actually think it should be in the 190s. I really do.
That is the NBA playoffs, isn't it? Right.
Yeah, but it's also those two teams are like the lowest scoring teams in the playoffs, and they're playing each other. All right. Well, good luck to everybody today. I'll be live at 6 Eastern. Happy Passover to those of you who celebrate. Sheets won't be here tonight, but good luck to everyone, and we'll see.